Hey there, pal. Welcome to the Home for Anime on the Falling Starcatcher YouTube channel. My name's Cameron, I'm the host and founder, and it's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. So, G-Kid sent over a review screener for their upcoming film Labyrinth, and I figured, let's talk about it. I have thoughts, of course. So, Labyrinth is a film, one, with a missed marketing opportunity because the tagline for Labyrinth has escaped the internet when, given what it's about, if it had taken a page out of any 21st century mother's book, it would be called It's Because You Be on That Damn Phone. And it's very telling. This movie follows a girl named Shiori who is introverted. She is shy. And since she was little, she has wanted 100 million likes. 100 million likes on what and for what? It's not entirely clear, nor is it ever made entirely clear. She has different goals throughout the movie, and they get explored, but of course we need something to set everything off, and that is that an embarrassing video of her gets uploaded online and her phone cracks. And shortly after, she finds herself in this alternate dimension, which is essentially she's trapped inside of her phone. So she does effectively need to escape the internet from this labyrinth that she's in. And from there, another Shiori emerges into the real world. And this Shiori is completely different from the shy child that we know. She is eccentric, she is abrasive, she's brazen, and she is determined to get this 100 million likes so that she, and this is one of the goals, so that she can become her true self. So, the good. Shiori is played by Suzuka from Atarashigako, the Japan leaders, and what she does so well is that she is able to effectively play these two different forms, these two different versions of Shiori. In the past, I've always thought that to be a different version of yourself, to play a different version of yourself, maybe, you sound the way that I sound now, and then if there was another version of me, he would probably be twirling his mustache and talking like this. But that's not necessarily the way that you need to go. It's not me being a different version of myself. It's just cartoonish. What Suzuka does is that she is able to sell that on one side, she can be this shy, apologetic Shiori, this uncertain young woman. But on the other one, she can be cocky, she can be abrasive. She knows how strong-willed this version of Shiori is, and that she will stop at nothing to get what it is that she wants. So to be able to portray these two versions of the same character, the sponge front and back so well, is extremely commendable, and I think that's probably my favorite part of this film. The other thing about Labyrinth, I can say that the art and animation are pretty consistent, which is always good. The first minute is different from the rest of the film. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, and they very well may be. I know it's time for me to get my eyes checked, but the first minute of animation looks different from the rest of the movie, which is strange, but it's whatever. The 3D CG, it's not bad. It doesn't put me in the mind of Scarlet, which, as you may know from one of my previous reviews, made me very upset. And it's serviceable, it works. The music is going to be the last of our good talking points and is going to transition us into the bad. There are some wonderful tracks provided vocally by Suzuka and by Tarashigako. And I really love, if nothing else, how they are sonically. They sound great. And these girls can sing. Obviously, they're international superstars. But what ruins some of these songs and the, I will say, pretty overall decent score is that this is a very tonally inconsistent film. Labyrinth, oddly enough, is more effective as a horror film than anything else, but it doesn't market itself as such. And I will be perfectly honest with you. There are very terrifying moments in Labyrinth. I saw bodies being crushed and digital blood spewing out. There is digital blood and gore in this movie, which is not marketed at all. I was not expecting that. There are violent black and white characters that crawl up the skin of digital characters. Like it just looks, the way it looks is that it actually triggered my trypophobia, the fear of holes, because it conquers their body. So I'm just squirming in my seat. And between that and some of the relatively inappropriate themes that they try to bring into this film, not to say that the filmmaker is inappropriate, but the way that these things are introduced, a 24-year-old tries to court a 17-year-old. I was not about any of that. So there's unsettling imagery, there are unsettling themes, and honestly, I felt kind of sick looking at Labyrinth from time to time. And again, horror, big points, but that is not what this is marketed as. But it tries to add levity, it tries to add comedy. We have comedy in this film, and it does not always land. And the reason that it doesn't land, sometimes it's just unfunny, but other times it undercuts what we are experiencing. It undercuts the horror. When there are major emotional beats, they are undercut. One of the best songs in the movie is sung towards the end, and I'm thinking, okay, it's a bumpy ride that we've gone through, but this is a good last 10 minutes. And as this song is finishing up, we just cut to an audience and this one guy who has the goofiest crying face. And you can tell, it's supposed to be funny. But it's so ill-timed and ill-placed. And that is how I can describe a lot of the comedic moments that are here. They don't add levity, they just add annoyance. And I can say the same about, there is an action set piece here. There is an action set piece amongst all this horror that I have and have not talked about. And again, it's a really scary film. I just want to drill that in. But there's an action scene in particular that involves giant robots. And it just seems so far removed from where we once were, where we came from, to where I just kept asking myself every 30 minutes, am I watching the same movie? And unfortunately, the answer was yes. And that leads me to my final complaint, which is that alongside the tonal inconsistency, the film is exceedingly shallow. What could be a very intriguing and compelling take on what social media can do to one's psyche, which, mind you, there are a lot of lawsuits floating around in the air right now. People are calling social media addictive. They're saying that it contributes to self-harm, to depression, anxiety, or worse. And they're winning. It's true. And to basically have this character that one could have argued is, in a way, or could have been seen by the public as dissociating actively and becoming an entirely different person, that would have been something really cool worth looking into. There are a myriad of ways that we could have explored the topic of social media, about escaping the internet, which in that case, yes, it's very fitting, escaping the internet. But In this bloated almost 2 hours where we are going from thing to thing to thing, where again, I'm asking myself, am I watching the same movie as I was watching 30 minutes ago? It it adds so much, but it contributes very little, to the point where unfortunately I understand what the film is trying to portray. I know what Labyrinth is trying to say, and I know why it wants to say it and how it wants to say it. But me knowing that is it's partially conjecture based on what I know is happening. But to me, if you can give me a this is what I want to say, but you can't give me exactly a how, it's not going to be as good of a product as I personally would like to see. So it just doesn't dig deep enough, and it just stretches itself in too many different directions, into too many different genres, and oddly enough, the plot points they just don't mesh well together after a certain point. And that is disappointing because I was really excited about this film. But overall, Labyrinth just disappointed me. I have a hard time because of some of the things that happen. I have a hard time saying, oh, yeah, you should definitely watch this on a bigger screen, because I watched this on my computer and I just thought, oh, too close. So seeing it on a bigger screen, I don't know. I mean, every film has the potential to be someone's favorite. So for that reason, and of course to support animation being put in theaters, that's why I would say give this film a shot. Obviously, I'm just one person giving my thoughts. And Labyrinth will be in theaters on May 10th and 11th, potentially longer, but I think only 2 days. And yeah, definitely, if you feel like you can stomach that, then give it a watch. And that's all from me. Thanks for spending time with me. Thanks for hanging out. And I hope that you take care. Bye.